And hello, everyone, and welcome into episode number 7 of men's basketball, recapping the Crossroads League standings. And I recorded my women's update yesterday, and I had mentioned that the men's game between the Maple Leafs of Goshen College and the Knights of Marion would be moved to last night due to all the freezing rain that fell around the Indianapolis metro area on Wednesday night. So without further ado, let's dive right in, recapping officially all the men's games from this past week. Of course, beginning with the Maple Leafs and the Knights last night, and it was the Knights of Marion victorious in this game. Final score 76-68. Now, this was the lowest amount of offensive points that the Knights had scored against the Maple Leafs since 2017, so really impressive to see that. Now for the Maple Leafs, they remain winless in the conference at 0-13, and meanwhile the Knights of Marion go to 5-8 in conference. And looking at the statistics in this game last night, now for the Maple Leafs, they actually shot the ball really well. They shot 42% from the field, 41% from beyond the arc, but they were just 42% at the free throw line. Now, the Maple Leafs only got to the free throw line a total of 7 times, which, only getting to the line 7 times, that's not really that bad. So, now for contrast, the Knights got to the line 13 times compared to just 7 times for the Maple Leafs, and for the Knights, they shot better from the field at 48%. They were worse from downtown at just 31%, and then, of course, I alluded to they were 76% at the free throw line, 10 of 13. And looking over some stats for the Maple Leafs, and they had a really good game from Marcus Northern. Northern was 6 of 17 shooting, 2 of 9 from beyond the arc, but he had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, so really good to see that on defense. Braden Allen was a perfect 4 of 4 shooting in 27 minutes of action, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, 2 of 3 at the free throw line. He had 1 rebound. Richard Wilson was 5 of 10 shooting, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. And DJ Bryant, 1 of 3 shooting, but he had 2 assists, 2 steals, and 1 rebound. And off the bench for the Maple Leafs, they had some really good bench production from Jacob Carlson, who was 4 of 11 shooting, 4 of 9 from beyond the arc, 2 rebounds, as well as Savion Williams, who was 2 of 8 shooting, he had 9 rebounds in just 22 minutes of action with 2 assists and 2 blocks. And they also had a really good bench performance in just 4 minutes of action by Kevin Cota, who was 1 of 1 shooting in just 4 minutes, as I alluded to, and he did have 1 block. Meanwhile, for the Knights, Noah Lovan, 4 of 10 shooting, 3 of 6 of the line, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. Gavin Foe, 3 of 5 shooting, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Dylan Moles, 9 of 15 shooting. He was 3 of 5 from three-point range with 3 rebounds, 4 assists. And Josiah Gustin, 2 of 3 shooting with 3 rebounds. And Aiden Franks, 6 of 17 shooting. He had 6 rebounds, though, with 1 assist. So really good numbers there. And there was that matchup last night in Indianapolis. Now, going back to the rest of the games from Wednesday night, and I will start with the Indiana Wesleyan University Wildcats traveled to Spring Arbor to take on the Cougars. And it was the Cougars with the upset here, 84-75. They outscored the Wildcats by 6 points in the second half. Now, for the Wildcats, this ended an 11-game winning streak that they had against the Cougars, dating all the way back to 2018. And for the Wildcats, looking at some stats, Bright Kari was 1 of 4 shooting in 20 minutes of action. He did have 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a decent shooting night from senior from Lee's Summit, Missouri, Griffin Cleaver, 8 of 16 shooting, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Luke Brown, 7 of 14 shooting, 5 of 9 from beyond the arc, 3 of 4 at the line with 3 assists, 1 steal. And Marcus Ankney, 1 of 1 shooting in 18 minutes, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. And Cademan Bontrigger, 3 of 6 shooting, 6 of 7 at the free throw line, though, so really good numbers there with 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Off the bench, Jackson Gold, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. He had 2 steals, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Isaac Andrews, 1 of 4 shooting, but he had 4 rebounds and 11 minutes of action off the bench. Cliff Gachumba, 1 of 2 shooting with 1 steal and 1 rebound. The Wildcats really shot the ball well, 47% from the field, 52% from beyond the arc, but they were just 63% at the free throw line, and that made all the difference. Meanwhile, for Spring Arbor, they shot 47% from the field, 47% from 3, and they were way better at the free throw line at just at 92%. So obviously the difference in this game was the 8 free throws that the Wildcats missed. And you figure if the Wildcats make all their free throws, they only lose the game by 1 point. And looking at the stats for Spring Arbor, they had some really good balanced scoring. One by Travis Grayson, 4 of 11 shooting, 10 of 10 at the free throw line with 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 rebound. Also really good performance by Shane Reisky, 7 of 9 shooting, 5 of 7 from beyond the arc, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Kevin Robertson, he was 2 of 7 shooting, but he did have 8 rebounds and 7 assists, so really good to see that. Dante Favor, 2 of 3 shooting, which was all beyond the arc, 2 of 2 at the line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. And Gabe Newhoff, 8 of 12 shooting, made his first collegiate three-pointer, so a big congratulations to him for that achievement. He was also a perfect 10 of 10 at the free throw line with 6 rebounds, 4 steals, and 1 block. And that was the matchup there. And the next matchup takes us to Fort Wayne, where the St. Francis Cougars hosted the Pilots of Bethel. And Bethel ranked right now number 7, St. Francis receiving votes. But now the next polls come out next Wednesday morning, so I'm sure a lot of this is going to change. And it was the Pilots victorious 75-70. So the Pilots victorious there in Fort Wayne, and for the Pilots, they avoid the massive upset. Now, it was just a 2-point game with 15 seconds left, but the Pilots went a perfect 5 of 5 from the free throw line to seal the game down the stretch and get the big win there. Looking at some stats for the Pilots, they had a really good performance from James Anderson, 7 of 13 shooting, 3 of 3 at the line with 8 rebounds. Trent Edwards, 9 of 16 shooting, 3 of 4 from the free throw line with 2 assists, 2 rebounds. Preston Phillips, 3 of 4 shooting with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a really impressive shooting performance by Luke McBride, 7 of 17 from shooting, 6 of 14 from beyond the arc, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals. And off the bench, Austin Kripe, 2 of 6 shooting, 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, 3 of 4 at the line with 4 rebounds, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. The Pilots, 46% shooting from the floor, 33 from beyond the arc, just 66 at the free throw line. Meanwhile, for the Cougars, Brandon Northern, 2 of 3 shooting, 5 of 7 at the line, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists. Zane Burke, 2 of 7 shooting, 2 of 6 from beyond the arc, 2 of 3 at the line with 2 rebounds. Luke Almodovar, 13 of 20 from the floor, 1 of 7 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, and a really impressive defensive performance, especially by 6'11" forward/center Isaiah Malone, 6 of 10 shooting, 5 of 7 at the line, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. And St. Francis shot better from the field at 49%. They were way worse from 3 at just 19%, and slightly worse at the free throw line, albeit by just a 3% margin at 63%. And that was the matchup there. And the next matchup takes us to Winona Lake, where number 12 Grace hosted the Trojans of Taylor. And this was a really hard-fought game. This game went to overtime, and Grace was able to avoid the massive upset by defeating the Trojans by a final score of 90-84, outscoring the Trojans 16-10 in the overtime period. Looking at the stats, Taylor as a team shot 48% from the floor, 33 from 3, 72 at the free throw line. They only got to the free throw line 11 times. Now, for the Lancers, they got to the line 28 times, so they were way worse, 57% from the free throw line compared to 72 for the Trojans. However, Grace shot 56% from the floor, so better than the 48% by the Trojans. Grace better from long distance at 42% compared to 33% for the visitors. And looking at the stats for the visitors, Chaz Harvey had a really good game, 4 of 15 shooting, 2 of 2 at the line, but he had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Anton Webb, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, 14 of 22 shooting, 3 of 5 at the line, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Jackson Olam, 4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 2 at the line with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. So really good to see that. Nate Paulberg, 4 of 5 shooting, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc with 2 blocks, 1 steal, 1 rebound. And Caden Furman, 4 of 10 shooting with 3 rebounds and 1 assist. For the Lancers, Ian Roush, 10 of 14 shooting. He had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Bryson Graber, 1 of 3 shooting, but he had 3 assists. Brett Sikafus, 2 of 4 shooting, which was all from downtown. 5 of 8 from the line with 1 rebound. Gage Sefton, 6 of 11 shooting, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, had 8 rebounds. And Justin DeGraff off the bench, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 of that was from beyond the arc with 1 rebound, 1 assist. And Hunter Walston, 12 minutes of action. He was 4-6 at the line, but he had 3 rebounds. And Ian Scott, 9 of 12 shooting, 3 of 6 from the free throw line, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. And that was the matchup there. And the next matchup takes us to Mount Vernon, where the Foresters of Huntington, ranked 19th, faced off against the Cougars of MVNU. And the Foresters victorious in a really good defensive battle, 68-57. I was at that game. Of course, I mentioned in my video yesterday I was there for the women's game. Fantastic women's game. And, of course, the men's game also was really good as well, where the Foresters were able to come away with the win. Now, the Foresters shot 39 from the field, 25 from 3, so kind of uncharacteristic of them shooting from beyond the arc. They were 63% at the free throw line, got to the line 22 times. Now, for the Cougars of MVNU, they got to the line 17 times, so they got to now Huntington got to the free throw line more than the Cougars did. Now, the Cougars, they were dead even with Huntington from the field as well at 39%. The Cougars slightly worse from three-point range at 21% compared to 25% for the visitors. Looking at some stats for the visitors, fifth-year graduate student Max Gizzi, 2 of 7 shooting. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Drew Goodline, the brother of Zach Goodline, who graduated from Huntington last year. And boy, Zach was just absolutely a phenomenal player for head coach Corey Alford and company. And boy, Zach Goodline, I tell you what, you talk about being a really, really good player. Zach was definitely that. He could knock down three-pointers, drive down the lane, and his brother Drew is the same way. Really, really good athletic players. And Drew Goodline, 3 of 10 shooting, so he did struggle a little bit shooting on Wednesday night, but defensively he was good with 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. And the biggest scorer on the night was really no surprise there, with Lane Sparks, 7 of 15 shooting, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. Landon Jordan, 5 of 7 shooting, 4 of 7 at the line, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. Jackson Paul had an off-game shooting, but he did have 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. And off the bench, Cade Brenner, 2 of 6 shooting with 2 rebounds. And Roman Breweer, in just 22 minutes of action off the bench, 3 of 3 shooting, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. For Mount Vernon, Milton Gage, 4 of 12 shooting, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Peyton Heiss had an off-game shooting, but he did have 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Trent Koning had an off-shooting game. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. But the big stat for Mount Vernon was Bailey Conrad, 6 of 12 shooting, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. He was perfect at the free throw line, 7 of 7, with 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And off the bench for the Cougars, Isaiah Brown, 5 of 8 shooting, with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And those were all the matchups from this past Wednesday. Now, looking ahead to the games coming up tomorrow, Marian will be traveling to Huntington. Huntington will be looking to avenge a tough 2-point loss to the Knights the first time they met, so that's going to be a really good game. Spring Arbor will be at Taylor. Mount Vernon will be up at Bethel. Mount Vernon looking, of course, to get back in the win column after losing to the Pilots by 12 at home back in January. And the Lancers of Grace will be up in Goshen to take on the Maple Leafs, and the St. Francis Cougars of Fort Wayne will be traveling down Interstate 69 to take on the Wildcats of Indiana Wesleyan. All of those games will be a 3 p.m. start tomorrow. And really big game for St. Francis and Indiana Wesleyan in terms of the standings. Indiana Wesleyan trying to get up to that number 4 spot. They trailed the Cougars by 2 games. And for the Wildcats, they are looking to avenge a tough 3-point loss to USF back in January. And for Indiana Wesleyan, they are also looking to go to 10-1 at home this year. Their only home loss so far coming to Grace back on November 23rd. And looking lastly real quick at the updated standings, before I talk about the updated standings, I do want to mention I'll be recording on my podcast website on Monday, recapping all of the games from Saturday, the men and women, so you definitely want to tune in for that. Of course, I will be uploading that to my podcast website on Spotify. You can find me there at Matt's Sports Talk, and my account has a picture of a basketball next to it, so that is me, or that's my account, I should say, so you can, of course, follow me there. And looking at the men's standings, Grace and Bethel tied for the number 1 seed at 11-2. Now, they both are tied for first place. They still have to play each other a second time, but right now, Grace does hold that tiebreaker over the Pilots because the Lancers have more league road conference wins than the Pilots do, so that's why Grace is ahead of them. Now, with one more win by both Grace and Bethel, coupled by one more loss by Huntington and St. Francis, that would mean that it would be Grace and Bethel fighting for that number 1 and 2 seed, and no other teams would be able to catch them at that point. Right now, Huntington and St. Francis are tied for the 3 and the 4 seed, respectively. Now, the Foresters are ahead of the Cougars, and there are 5 games left in the regular season. And one thing of note, the Foresters will be ahead of the Cougars if they finish tied, because the Cougars got swept by the Pilots of Bethel both times in the regular season. Huntington and Bethel split, meaning Huntington gets that common opponent tiebreaker, so that's something to watch very, very closely. And for Spring Arbor, they are the 5 seed at 7-6, 2 games ahead of 4 teams. Indiana Wesleyan, the 6 seed at 5-8, Mount Vernon, the 7 seed at 5-8, Taylor, the 8 seed at 5-8, and Marion, 1 game out of the actually tied with all of those teams, but Marion is beneath Indiana Wesleyan, Mount Vernon, and Taylor for that number 8 spot. And then, of course, the Maple Leafs, they are eliminated from postseason contention. They are 0-13. Now, looking ahead for the Maple Leafs, they still have to play everybody ahead of them a second time. Now, looking at the Maple Leafs closing schedule, the Maple Leafs play Grace, Spring Arbor, Taylor, Iwu, and Huntington. So Goshen is done with everybody else ahead of them except Taylor and Indiana Wesleyan. So Goshen, really for Goshen, they are going to have to, I guess I shouldn't say they're eliminated from postseason yet, but they will have to win out and hope that Taylor loses. Really, they need to win out, have Iwu, Mount Vernon, Taylor, Marion all lose out, and of course that's unlikely because all those teams still have to play each other again. So the pathway for the Maple Leafs to make the postseason is very, very small. But at this point, I would say they probably would be eliminated from the playoffs. But again, we'll just keep taking things one game at a time and see what happens on Saturday. Meanwhile, between Spring Arbor and Indiana Wesleyan, to jump Spring Arbor would have to finish 1 game ahead of them because the Cougars upset Grace 1 out of it 2 times in the regular season. Indiana Wesleyan got swept by Grace, so Spring Arbor will hold the common opponent tiebreaker over the Wildcats. Indiana Wesleyan, though, for now Indiana Wesleyan still has to play all of the teams beneath them. So obviously, if they split with the teams beneath them, then it, of course, comes down to the common opponent tiebreaker. That's just too early to call that one. So obviously, a lot of things can happen on the men's side of things. Anything is possible. There are 5 games left in the regular season, so obviously things are becoming a lot more clear, that is for sure. And of course, like I said, I'll be recapping all of the games Monday and Tuesday, or on Monday for the men and the women from tomorrow, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. And I probably will record a separate video maybe next Tuesday giving you a more thorough breakdown of all of the standings for the men's and the women's side. I'm not 100% sure on that yet. I might do that. I think, though, more than likely I'll wait until we get down to the last 2 to 3 games left in the regular season before I start breaking down. Maybe within the last 2 games, maybe Thursday and Friday, March 20th and 21st. Maybe I think I'll probably record a video at that point, giving you a more thorough breakdown of everything. After, of course, recapping all those games from the 9 teams. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. All 3 of those things help me out greatly. Thanks so much for watching this video, and have a great weekend.